Hey guys, Blue Ridge Rider, welcome back to the channel. Tonight I'm going to do two things. I'm going to review the Harbor Freight motorcycle tire bead breaker, and then I'm going to show you how I use it to break the bead on my BMW. So I've used this device a couple of times before on my wife's Yamaha MT-03 and learned a little bit about it and did a couple of things to make it better. So one of the things I did was added some just rubber pipe insulation to the top of the frame to keep from scratching the wheel up. That worked good, but the frame still moved around a lot, so I added some rubber to the base to kind of hold it in place. Now on my wife's bike, the tire was a lot smaller. I didn't use this all thread rod in the center. I just left it out and just sat the tire on here, and then I would use my knee to hold the tire in place while I broke the bead. And that worked pretty good, but it did take a lot of pressure and it wanted to ride up on me. So for this wheel and tire, which is a lot bigger than the Yamaha, I've gone ahead and put the threaded rod in place. The other thing I've done is on the actual little blade that breaks the bead, I just put some duct tape on here because you'll see it gets right up next to the wheel and I don't want to scratch my wheel. Now I went right above these little teeth, just put a little layer right there to keep from scratching. And then the other thing that I found is with this threaded rod, I made a little steel plate with some rubber foam on it to put on the wheel and hold the wheel in place. And this works great on the wife's little Yamaha tire, but on my big BMW wheel, it doesn't work so good. So I've had to make a shim because of the way the wheel sits. So we're gonna try this with the shim and the plate, put the wheel on, see how it goes. All right, so I've got the wheel off of my bike. I've already pulled the valve stem out and let the air out of the tire. I'm going to set it on the frame. Pretty much centers itself from the size of the frame. I guess if you had a much larger wheel, it would probably sit down on the spokes. Mine kind of gets held in place by the wheels. And then here's what I was talking about. The threads run out on this rod. So I put the plate on, it goes all the way down and there's nothing to hold this in place. So I've made my plate with the rubber against my wheel. I made this wooden block to go on top of there with enough room to get the wing nut on. It doesn't have to be tight. I really just want to hold it in place. And I'll probably still wind up putting my knee here as I break this. Now, I think what I'm going to do so you guys can see it a little better is I'm going to turn things here 90 degrees. Now, this, I'm going to call it the blade that you break the bead on. You got to play with it a little bit. So if I run it all the way up here just to show you guys, if I run it all the way up here to the top, you get too far in and you can't get any pressure. And then if you come all the way down, you don't have any angle. So what I try to do is find the spot, and there's some kind of little stops on here where I'm pushing not quite straight down, but kind of straight down and in at just a little bit of an angle. Now I'm going to try this first without putting my knee on it just to see if the block will hold it, and if it won't, then I'm going to wind up putting my knee on it. Now, one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some tire lube on here. That makes a world of difference. So I've got no more tire lube in here mixed with a little bit of water. So let me get some of that, excuse me, let me get some of that sprayed on here. Because that is amazing the difference just a little bit of lubrication makes. I think I need a little more water in my bottle, but we'll do that before we get too far into putting the new wheels on tonight. Okay, so I'm going to set that just up against the wheel so the duct tape's kind of protecting it. Right now I'm not going to put my knee on it and just try it, and let's see if it'll. Now, you see how that blade is going back? So I've got it too far up. I want that blade staying right on the bead. And it also kind of pushes it away from the wheel. So I'm going to go back a notch, and I'm just going to go one at a time here till I find where it works really well. I just went back one. I probably should have gone back two, but let's see. Nope, that looks pretty good. There we go. The bead is off. That simple, guys. Now, one thing about it, you can't just take it off in one spot. You do have to take it off in multiple spots. So I'm going to loosen up my wing nut a little bit. May have to take it all the way off. We'll see. Nope, that's good enough. I'm going to rotate it about 90 degrees. Come back in. Yeah, this little shim and the rod make all the difference in the world. If you watch my other video where I was doing this on the wife's bike and holding it with my knee, it was much harder to do. There we go. I think I'm off all the way around. That's it. Bead is broken. That was so easy compared to trying to hold it in place with my knee before. So I'm going to take my shim and my metal block off, take the wheel, turn it over. One thing I just noticed there, you got to be careful that you don't scratch your wheel up on this. Now, the way my wheel is shaped, I don't need to shim this time. I can get away with just my metal block. I have a single-sided swing arm on the BMW, and the spokes kind of cut into the center, so that was the side where they stick out a little further. So back in again, not super tight, just enough to hold it in place. Get a little bit of tire lube on here. Should have checked the water before I started this project. This No More tire lube works great. It looks a lot like, it smells a lot like Murphy's oil soap. I don't know if it is or not. I can see here I've scratched my duct tape up, which is a good sign to me. That says that it did something. I'm gonna put this back on right up there close to the edge. And come on, baby. Oh, there it is. Now, another thing I just saw right there, if you're not careful, I could have made contact with this onto my wheel. I didn't, but I could have. But that popped that bead right off of there. Let's see, did I loosen it up just a little bit? Come up, turn it. I'm gonna go about 90 degrees. My duct tape's taking a beating. Look at that. I think I'm off all the way. Let's check it again. Come over here. Whoa, I just tore my insulation up under there a little bit, but still in a good enough shape. Put this on. There we go. And we are off, folks. That's it. So thanks for watching. That's how you use the Harbor Freight bead breaker. I know some guys say they want to set it on a bench because they don't like being down on the ground. This is fine for me. I do see my foam got kind of wrecked this time by turning the wheel a little bit, but not terrible. It's still usable, but I might think about that next time and maybe pick the wheel up and move it around a little bit. Thanks for watching.